Hey
Okay, so
guys,
bonus episode.
bonus episode. Yep, we're
Okay,
doing
great.
this bonus episode. Welcome to Running Book Reviews bonus track. And this one is going to be all about Alan and his London Marathon experience because if you've been following us on social media, you know that he was in the London Marathon a couple weeks
Yes,
ago.
I was, and I'm I'm informed by the London Marathon that I am now a Guinness Book of Records holder because
What?
um, I finished the London Marathon along with 56,000 and something other people, and that's the most finishes in a marathon. So that's a
Wow.
new world record. And it said, click here to get your Guinness Book of Records certificate. So I clicked and it said, only £25. I thought, no, I don't think I want
Oh.
a certificate for £25. I shall just rest um, happy that I was a
You were part
participant
of
in the
this.
record.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're part of this world record. That's amazing.
Well, it'll
So,
probably get beaten, I guess. It might even get beaten at New York
oh wow.
this year. Apparently, London and New York have been trading the record.
Okay.
Um, and London have just now taken the record away from last year's New York. And I
Okay.
think maybe this year's New York is going to
I'm
take
gonna
it back
take it
again.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, that's incredible. Before we get into the race itself, I want to
Hmm.
ask you because for people that know the London Marathon and
Yeah.
have tried to get into the London Marathon and have
Yeah.
applied for the last decade through the lottery and have not
Hmm.
got in, they're probably dying to know how the heck did you get into the London Marathon, Alan?
Yeah. Yeah. I was one of those people. I think I applied 7 years in a row. And
Mm-hmm.
what one, I kept getting rejected. Two,
Mm.
every year I kept seeing these um, sort of excited announcements from London Marathon about how many applicants there are. Oh, we've had another record number of applicants. So each year I was getting rejected and then seeing that my chances were getting lower and lower.
Mm-hmm.
I think for next year's London Marathon, they've closed the lottery. They have 1.2 million applicants for, well, I don't know how many places they give to the lottery, but it can't be
Wow.
more than about 20,000, something like that. I don't know what the
Wow.
number is, but so your chances of getting in are like somewhere between one and 2%.
Basically,
So
the
if you
same
apply for
chances
50 years,
as
you should get
actually
in
winning the
once.
lottery.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, yeah. If you apply for 50 years on average, you should get in once now. So
Wow.
um so
That's
your chances of getting in through the lottery are like crazy.
hmm.
Um I noticed that you can do a good for age time, so you can run a qualifying time, but that only works if you're a resident of the UK.
Okay.
So although I was
So
born
not
up,
for us.
although I was born in the UK, I'm not a resident of the UK, and I don't want
Hmm.
to cheat the rules by kind of giving my
Your sister's
sister's
address?
sister's address and then getting banned from all the majors when they find out, you don't live there. Um,
Yeah.
so
So are you planning to do all the majors at this point? I mean, you participated in like the
I don't
hardest
know.
one,
I don't
and
know.
you've done Chicago and you've done Boston.
I haven't done Chicago.
Oh, no, you're going to do Chicago. That's true. You're
Yeah,
going to do Chicago.
I'm entered for later this year. Um,
Okay.
so um, I got in through charity entry, and
Okay.
in fact, it's not easy to get in through charity entries either. I had to apply to something like I tried to choose charities that had some meaning for me,
Mm-hmm.
so I would feel a bit justified in asking people for money. Otherwise, you're sort of saying, "Oh, I'd like to do the London Marathon. Give me a donation."
Yeah.
If there's no meaning to your charity.
So how many?
That's
But they must have like hundreds of
oh yeah,
charities.
yeah. It's a whole industry. Um,
Okay. And are you able to apply
but they
to all of
fill
them or?
if you can apply to however many you want, but they all have different processes. Although there are some
Okay.
that have a clearinghouse system where you can apply to one sort of clearinghouse and they'll consider you for multiple charities.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
But anyway, I applied to maybe six or seven charities and
And how
got,
did you
got
pick them?
rejected just by meaningfulness.
Okay.
So, for example, we talked on our podcast with Jeff Recker and his book, The Humiliation Tour, and then
Yes.
found out that he had some really rough diseases that he was trying to fight and recover from. So I applied to
Those charities.
those charities to um, to get an entry, but I got rejected.
Hmm.
Um, to cut a long story short, I eventually got accepted by kidney research, um, which for me was one of my daughters, Hannah, is has a lot of trouble with her kidneys. Um, been going through a lot due to other conditions, but causing kidney problems. So that was kind of, I felt kind of justified then in going on a mission, going on
Mm-hmm.
a crusade to raise money. I had to raise £2,500 sterling.
Oh wow.
Um,
What is that in Canadian dollars?
in Canadian dollars, that's, I don't know, 4,500, something like that,
Okay, that's a
approximately.
pretty big
It's a chunk of change,
chunk
yeah.
of change, yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
so,
got a bit of help from the family who kind of organized events for me. Uh,
yeah.
thank you, Susie and Brandon and CrossFit Max Gym. Thank you, my wife Melanie and her Tupperware organization.
Yeah. You're well surrounded. It's
Yeah,
good.
so
Yeah.
that was pretty good. And the running club all chipped in because they went, "Oh yeah, we know you've always wanted to do London. How can we help?"
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of fun.
So they came to the events and yeah,
Yeah.
gave money and stuff. Yeah. Okay. So
So
that's how
so I
you ended
managed to
up
raise the
getting in.
money. That was a relief.
Because
Then
what happens if you can't raise the money?
oh, you have to sign a document when they give you the place
Mm-hmm.
to say that you will raise the money and that you are responsible for the money.
Okay.
So the idea being, if you don't raise the money, you have to pay.
Okay. And like, do you give a credit card and they kind of just charge your credit card, or how does that
No,
work?
no, they don't, but they know where
No.
you live by that time.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
Yeah. So they have your address so they could
yeah.
send you some registered mail and stuff.
And they give you a lot of help. They give you a lot of hand holding and they put you into community groups and chat groups and things like that. And they looked after me afterwards as well. They
Hmm.
had a reception and you could go and they had massages and they sent me some gear to wear. Um,
Were there any like in those chat groups or I don't know, along the way, were there any like fundraising kind of activities that people did that you were kind of like, wow, that's genius. Like I never thought of that, but wish I had.
I think uh, people do what works for them. So, having an organized fun run race where I charge you some money works for me
Hmm.
because I've got a running club and a gym
Hmm.
who will participate. Um,
Yeah.
it doesn't work for other people who are maybe on their own, but maybe they're great at baking. So they have
Yeah.
a bake off. All funds go to my
We'll have a bake
charity.
sale,
Yeah.
multiple bake sales.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there are lots of things. Some people have benefactors as well, and lots of companies do dollar for dollar. If you're doing something, um, once a year up to a limit, they'll give you, um, if you raise 100, they'll give you 100. Usually there's a cutoff at 1,000 or 500 or something. I found out that lots of people were working for companies who had a matching system for
Oh,
charity,
wow. Okay.
which is pretty nice.
Yeah. I guess like a lot of companies, they'll give to charity. So if they give through an employee that's also
Yeah.
raising for
And there
charity,
was one
it's kind
person
of
who had a
like a,
benefactor.
hmm.
They just got like, from one company, they got a check for $5,000.
Oh, wow. Okay. That must be
Like,
rare.
like game over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of the
Yeah.
50 people who were in my kidney research group, I think there was one like that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So that's interesting. Um, I guess that was probably stressful for a time. You're like, oh, I have to raise all this money, but you got it done, and
Yeah, it's
Got it
interesting.
done pretty quick.
There were two types of people. There
Hmm.
was like me that went,
Hmm.
"Oh God, I've got all this money to raise. What can I do? What can I do?" Event. Okay, I've got all the money. Okay, I can relax. And I had that done by December for, the race at the end
April.
of
Yeah.
April. So I was, and then there were those that had like 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And the last 2 months, it was just like just using the momentum of, I think these people were more UK based because they used the momentum of people in the news starting to talk about London Marathon is coming, blah, 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 and then using that to surf on to raise money. And
Oh,
quite a few
okay.
people who in the last week said, "Oh, I'm almost there. I've almost got my money." And I thought, "Oh, I'm glad that's not me."
Yeah.
And a few people who raised money after the marathon as well and used the fact that the marathon had been on to then ask for donations. Say, look,
Okay.
I've completed my London Marathon. I'm still missing because they give you a
Like they give you an
month,
extra
yeah, a
buffer.
month or
Yeah.
two grace.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's sounds like people have different strategies and they all seem to work. So I guess that's the important part.
Yeah.
So for the marathon itself, what did you end up doing as training? Did you follow any training program, or was
Yeah.
it just more like you just wanted to get around and have fun and do it for the experience?
Do you take caffeine when you run? Lots of people do because it's in gels and stuff. And caffeine's legal and it's been proven to work. There's actual science that shows that it improves your endurance running performance.
And there's anecdotal data from when you have your coffee in the morning and you go for a workout versus when you forgot to have your coffee or you didn't have time and you went for a workout and it was terrible.
And the trouble with coffee is there's a lot of liquid just to get your caffeine dose.
Yeah, so then you have to stop for the bathroom mid-workout. Very impractical. Which is where Caffeine Bullet comes in.
What's caffeine bullet, Liz?
It's a caffeine supplement. It's wrapped up like in a candy. So, and it tastes like candy. And you can get 100 milligrams or 85 milligrams, which is about a cup of coffee, but without the liquid.
So we've tried the mint flavor and the chocolate orange flavor, and they're both pretty yummy.
If you want to try them for yourself, we do have a 20% off discount code. So go to the link in the show notes and you can check out what Caffeine Bullet is and get your 20% discount.
Pretty generous.
It is pretty generous.
And we'll get a small benefit, so you're helping out the
Speaking of which, back to the podcast.
yeah, I did mileage and I did a bit of quick work and I did a few long runs and then I tried to put a little bit of pace into my long runs, but not enough of any of that. Um,
So did you
compared
have a
compared
goal?
to compared to sort of fall marathons.
Okay. Did
So
you have a goal time
yeah,
going in?
I thought I would try and run at I would start at 4:30 per K pace and see if I could hold that, which kind of brings you in at 3:10.
Mm-hmm.
And usually what I find is in spring I can't hold that very well and I fade off a little bit and that brings me in three, around 3:20. So I
Okay.
was hoping for that.
Yeah.
Didn't quite work out like that.
No, no, you ended up
Marathon
getting sick before.
marathons are nice like that. They
Yeah.
always have something in surprise for you, as you know, Liz.
So what was the
Yeah.
surprise?
Well, yeah, I got sick. So I had the week before I had some sort of throat infection and it turned into a sort of respiratory thing. And I thought, oh, it's just a cold, I'll recover. Um, I didn't recover well. Um, I still have a little bit of a residual cough. Um, so I struggled a little bit with that. That kind of curtailed my training a little bit, but it was in the taper, so I wasn't worried about that. But in
Yeah.
fact, I wasn't as fit as I needed to be on the day. I did some
I
little
think you you
did some
you
little
ran a
trial runs.
5K. like a
Yeah.
5K at one point, like
Yeah.
while you were still in Canada before you had left,
Yeah.
and you were like, "Oh, that was like really hard. I don't know how I'm gonna run like
Yeah.
the
My
whole
heart rate was kind of maxing out. Just trying to run
an easy."
a target pace.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, I thought that's going to be a problem. I
Mm.
repeated that when I got to the UK, and it was a little easier. So I thought I'm getting better. So I'll just keep my fingers crossed for the day. So
Okay.
hey ho, off we go. So I had I had a bit of jet lag as well because we were
Oh, yeah, that's true.
yeah. So I
Yeah.
thought we'll ignore that. We'll just pretend that's not happening. So
Yeah. I
so
guess.
so we did that, and my nemesis. It was warm. It was actually warm on the day.
Yeah, which
Uh,
never happens in the UK. I
God
mean, come
damn.
on.
We go to the UK for a nice cool marathon and they have a sunny day.
Uh,
That was fantastic for the crowds who were watching, but
look
not so
beautiful.
good for the people running.
Yeah, because I was following, well, your wife was there and she was doing sort of like lives or little videos, I think, on
Mm,
Instagram.
yeah,
And so she was showing like the meetup area and just like the weather, and you see the blue skies and the sun, and I'm like, oh, it
yeah,
looks fantastic. Um, but meanwhile, I knew that it was fantastic for me, but not for you.
yeah. It was great for hanging around waiting to start, where
Yeah.
normally you'd be worried about getting cold
Mm-hmm.
or wet.
Yeah.
It was fine. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, I bought some old clothes from a charity shop, like a jumper and some pants.
Okay.
Um, the pants were really nice, so I took them off and put them in my drop bag so I could keep them rather than throw them away because I didn't need them. I was just in
Yeah.
shorts waiting around, and the jumper I just took off and sat on it.
Okay.
Um, so that was kind of fine. The for a sunny when it's a sunny day, the meeting areas are fantastic.
Hmm.
There are five um, areas, not like Boston where there's one huge area. In London, there are five separate areas where you congregate, and I was in one of the
Hmm.
smaller ones, the pink area. We were just sitting on the grass, just chilling. The toilet setup was really nice.
Okay.
Queues, but the toilets were fantastic. The portaloos, really well organized, and they had big mega screens showing the start of the women's run and then the start of the official marathon. You know,
Okay.
I wasn't starting at the start of
Of
the
the
men's
big
race
start.
because
Yeah.
there are waves, but you could see it, and that was great for like building
Excitement.
excitement. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh wow.
it was pretty
Okay.
good.
It looked like from the videos I saw, it looks like everything is just really big because I mean, there's a lot of people at that marathon.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
what is it, 40 or
yeah.
50,000?
Yeah, well, when you're running, when I was running, you're running, you start off in a wave, which is as many as you can fit into the road that you're running on, basically.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, and then, you've got all these waves in front of you and all these waves behind you. So you're running in a crowd, and then your start merges with the other starts. So as it thins out, it sort of merges and then gets dense.
Hmm.
And what I found is I was running in a crowd all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. An interesting thing as well is the paces. You have a pacer in your wave because I was in the wave for like 320, like I said earlier.
Hmm.
Um, we had a pacer with like 315 and one with 320. But some of the other waves and some of the other starts have pacers for 320 as well. So
Oh, okay.
so I'm running along and there's a pacer in front of me and I can see he's got a flag and it says 320. I think, oh, I'm on 320 pace. Okay, so I'm doing okay. And then he kind of gets away from me a little bit, and another pacer comes up, and he has 320 on his flag as well. So, so I'm thinking, I wonder if that guy that went away was my 320 or whether this guy is my 320. So anyway, I can't keep up, so I'll have to let him go. And then another guy comes up and he has 320 on his flag as well.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I thought, well, let's just forget that. So
Okay. So what
yeah,
did you end up running?
I ran 336, I think, 336 eventually. In
Okay.
fact, I was going great up until about 20, the old story for a marathon, up until
Mhm.
about 25K. And then my pace fell off the end of a cliff.
Oh wow, okay.
I was really struggling.
Okay.
I just ran out because I was sick. I think I just ran out of energy.
Yeah.
Um,
You weren't like recovered enough, I guess, from that.
no,
Yeah.
I just put it into survival mode,
Yeah,
and
because you
then
definitely ran long runs that were longer than 25K, so there
yeah,
was like kind of no
yeah,
reason for it to like fall off a
yeah,
cliff there. Like
yeah.
I
I was
would,
kind of, oh shucks,
but
it isn't working. Okay,
yeah.
just keep moving.
Yeah.
The heat affected quite a lot of people, I think. I don't know. I didn't see any data on how many dropouts or
How many ambulances
how
or
many treatment cases, but all the safety people seem to be,
occupied?
yeah, all the
Yeah.
time. I was, my pace was going down a lot. I was passing people walking. After about halfway, I was passing people who were walking,
Oh wow.
um,
Okay. That's
and
yeah.
increasing numbers of people who were walking. Lots and lots of runners were passing me because I was getting slower and slower, but I was focusing on the people who were walking.
Mm.
And then I was sad because I started getting overtaken by people in fancy dress, which is always which is always the curse of the club runner, isn't it?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got
You're like,
overtaken by a guy in a gorilla suit, you know.
yeah, you're not
Uh,
really sure if you should be like, oh wow, good on you. You ran all this way with that thing, or you should be
hmm.
like, oh my God, like
I
how is
can't
this
run fast enough
possible?
to keep up with a guy, guy carrying a fridge or something. All sorts
Yeah.
of wacky things. Um,
So,
London's interesting. Just doing a comparison with Boston
mhm.
because Boston's a sort of this massive, epic, iconic marathon that everybody wants to do, and so is London.
Yeah,
Yeah, but Boston is very sort of runner focused and sort of elitist. You have to run the
the
qualifying time,
qualifying
so
time.
you've got to be an experienced marathoner almost to get in.
Yeah.
And
Or a charity runner because
when
they
you're
do have
running,
charity runners.
it's crowded, but it's crowded with people who are all doing what you're doing
Mm-hmm.
almost, and they're experienced marathon runners. Whereas London has lots and lots and lots of first-time marathon runners, and they've gotten in through charities or through the lottery,
Mm-hmm.
and then decided they'll do it, and they get a corral based on what they write on their document, not on the evidence that they submit, which you have to for Boston.
Yeah.
So, they can go, okay, what time do you think you're going to finish your marathon in? Well, I've never done a marathon before. Oh, 2:20 seems good, or,
Mm-hmm.
3 hours, 20, and they've got no idea really.
Yeah.
So you can end up in a group which is um, like a mixture of different people of different abilities and different trends. So I think that makes running in a crowd a little bit more challenging. And I found that at London that,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the crowding wasn't great.
Yeah.
It felt a little bit too crowded because people would, cut corners. There's a lot of turns in London.
Mm-hmm.
So they would just cut corners and not think to respect, the people around them. Um,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
so I mean, mostly it was just fun, you're just running with people, but occasionally you go, okay, this would kind of never happen at Boston
Yeah.
because everybody's got more marathon experience.
I guess also more race experience in general. I mean,
Yeah,
because sometimes,
yeah,
if they
yeah.
marathons can sometimes be like a bucket list,
Mm,
and yeah. And I guess if you live in London, what's your bucket list marathon going to be? Well, it should be the
yeah.
London Marathon because
Having said that, at
you.
London, the crowds were, amazing. I guess it was a fine day, but the crowds were
Hmm.
it. actually got to a point where it was like a little too much when I started to fade, and
Yeah.
I didn't have the energy to kind of
They were all
soak up the
screaming
crowd.
at
They're
you.
all
Yeah.
screaming. I'm thinking, oh, could you just
I've
turn them down a little bit? Which is kind of bad because
It's like I need a
everybody's,
nap.
yeah,
Can I
everybody's
just
good. The atmosphere was fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, and the atmosphere of the runners was also great because, a lot of them are just,
They're just happy to be
yeah, living
there.
the dream. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The
That's
guys at
amazing.
Boston are as well, but in a more professional way. This is more raw, I think, with London.
Yeah.
It's more social. I would say, London's much more social and Boston's more elite. Not elite, not
Competitive,
but
I guess.
yeah,
More competitive, like
yeah.
not necessarily
More
competitive with each
experienced.
other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you would you put your name into the draw to get another chance? Or I mean, I don't know if you'd want to do another charity to go again,
Yeah,
but
I would
but
like to do London again at some stage, maybe. Um, there's plenty of other things to do as well, but to experience it again in a different way, maybe be a bit healthier, uh,
hmm
be able to drink it all in. Um,
yeah.
all the landmarks are fantastic, the
Did you have a hard time finding Mel at the end?
no, because the charity had organized a hotel where everybody collected at the end, so we just
Oh,
went.
okay.
And in fact, the hard time for me was finding my way to that hotel, even
Oh.
though it wasn't very far, because I was a bit worse for wear, so I was kind of moving quite slowly, and there was a set of stairs. I thought, I have to go up these stairs to get to the hotel. I think if I go up these stairs and it's not up there and I have to come back down, I'm going to be in trouble.
Oh
Um,
no, what'd you do? Did you ask somebody if the hotel was up the stairs?
I went up the stairs and I got to the
Okay.
top of the stairs and I was looking around and Melanie was at the top of the stairs waiting for me. She said,
Uh,
I thought you'd get to here and then have trouble. So finding the hotel. So I thought I'd come here
she
and
knows
wait
you
for
so
you.
well.
Yeah, brilliant. So she sort of took me off by the arm to the hotel, which was quite nice. So the charities have a lot of them have their own meeting points where they'll rent a hotel room, and that was
That's
great
great.
because they had big
Okay.
screens, they had food. Um, you could meet with other people who are running for the same charity as you, who you didn't meet because they were on different starts or at different times or whatever.
Yeah.
That
And I
was very
guess
cool.
you're from different parts of the world
Yeah,
sometimes,
yeah.
so
And
yeah.
also hear their stories because a lot of the kidney research people, one of the guys that had a transplant and he was
Oh
running.
wow.
Yeah, another guy had problems with his family and he was running. And there's lots of stories.
Okay.
It's
Oh
nice.
wow.
Apparently, London, I don't know if it's true or not, but I was told that the London Marathon is the biggest single charity raising day on the planet.
You know what? I heard that also.
There is like
So,
1.8 billion pounds or something in
hmm
one day,
yeah,
in one event.
I heard that as well. So it's possible
Yeah.
that that's true. Okay. Well, sounds great. So London is checked off your bucket list after
Yeah.
7 years of applying to
Yeah, and,
the
and what I would
lottery.
say is if you're thinking of going and you can afford to go because, there's costs
Is
included in travel
yeah.
and accommodation and all those kinds of things. Yeah, it's certainly an experience worth having. And it's a different experience, I think, to the North American majors.
Okay. Okay, good stuff. Anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, I just need to recover now.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Get back,
Marathons.
get back to eventually to summer training
Mm-hmm.
for fall.
Yeah, I guess we should talk about that eventually once we've decided what kind of training we're gonna do. So, new bonus episode
Yeah. So that's
at some
London.
point. Yeah,
So that's London, and it's still there waiting for you when you get round to doing it, Liz.
I guess. Yeah, I should probably start by entering the lottery. That would be a good place to start, eh?
You
Yeah.
missed the lottery this year.
Ah, darn. Okay, next year. As of
Yeah.
next year, I'm going to put my name in that lottery.
There you go.
Wouldn't it be awful if I got in the
First
first
time.
try?
I'd so hate you.
You would. But don't worry, it won't happen because it's like
Oh,
winning the lottery.
It's unlikely, let's say.
It's unlikely,
Yeah.
exactly. Great.
Okay, good stuff.
Well, that's it for now from Running Book Reviews. And if you guys have anything else that you'd like for us to chat about in a bonus episode, you can always leave us a comment on social media
Yeah, be
or
good.
send us a message.
I'd like to talk to you about your 5K training that you've been doing.
Okay.
But not now. Next
Not
time.
now. Next
Bye
time.
for now.
Bye.